right. Hi, everybody. Welcome to Carnivore Sunday School. I'm back from Key West. I had my 4-hour trip back from the Keys. We recorded it as I was going to the Keys last week, and now I see that George and Stephanie just spent 4 hours on the road getting to their hotel from where they were. They'll tell you about that. But we have a very special guest today. I'm going to give you an introduction to him first, and then we'll go around and do our little short intros. Today, we are excited to welcome Jonathan Griffiths, known across the community as Carnivore Muscle. Jonathan is an elite carnivore bodybuilder who has transformed his physique and health by committing fully to an animal-based lifestyle. His journey is a powerful example of what happens when you fuel the human body with species-appropriate nutrition. Strength increases, inflammation decreases, and performance goes through the roof. Jonathan shares his training methods, his metabolic principles, and his no-nonsense approach to building real functional muscle without the carbs, powders, and gimmicks the fitness industry pushes. His message is resonating worldwide because he lives what he teaches: discipline, consistency, and results. So please join me in welcoming Carnivore Muscle Jonathan, a man who's redefining what strength and optimal health look like in the modern world. Everybody give him a welcome.
Thank you.
Jonathan.
Hey guys, nice to see you all. Yeah, thank you all for having me, and thank you, of course, John, for hosting this. It's nice to be here on a Sunday evening. So hopefully if I can answer anyone's questions and help people out a little bit. And you know, I'm an open book. There's nothing I have hidden at all. So feel free to just put a question in the chat. I'm happy to sort of go on and ramble about whatever. But I just wanted to make a note as well that I have to give credit where it's due, because I think it's very important, at least for me. I did get a lot of my training, my information from people like Professor Bart Kay, Harry Sopanos, Dr. Anthony Chafee, among some other people as well online in this space. And although I am the first carnivore bodybuilder, actually the first one that actually competed to any degree that I can think of, there's also people that I've more standing on the shoulders of. So, for example, Robert Sykes, he's a ketogenic natural bodybuilder. He's the first person who proved, you know, a low carb, ketogenic, animal based sort of style approach could be done to building muscle and losing fat on a bodybuilding stage. But other than that, I'm actually delighted to be here, and I've actually met George and Stephanie in the past, well, a few months back, might be a bit longer back, I can't remember. And hopefully soon I'll see John at some point in the near future, hopefully. So yeah, all good.
That'd be great. Welcome. All right, let's go around the clock here. We'll go clockwise and just give a little brief introduction of, because there are people just joining us for the first time. They don't know who or what we're doing. So I'll start, and then we'll go to George. We'll go around. And then anybody who has a question for Jonathan for bodybuilding, anything, type a QQQ in the comments, and Jonathan will do his best to give you his knowledge, his experience, and answer that question. So I'm Carnivore Teacher, Alpha. I'm on YouTube. I put lessons out every day. We do these interviews. We do Sunday Carnivore. And I'm just honored to meet all these really great people who have taught me so many things. I am always learning new things from people like Jonathan and others. Some of the names that he mentioned, Dr. Anthony Chafee, Bart Kay, all these people are excellent role models to listen to. So I won't go into more detail. A lot of people have already heard my story, but you know, I lost weight. I healed my lower back. I fixed a lot of health problems just by cleaning up my diet and allowing my body to do what it's supposed to do. And that is to heal and grow and have low inflammation. And I do go to the gym and work out. I'm not a bodybuilder, but I'm going to get a lot of tips today from Jonathan, I hope. Steph, your turn. Well, we switched places here, so you're next, Steph.
Yeah, I fell off. Hello, everybody. I'm Stephanie Taylor. I've just driven 3 hours because George and I are at an event tomorrow night, and tomorrow day. Talking about carnivore, having a Kent carnivore meetup, which we're very excited about. And I'm at Happy Sexy Health, talking about happiness, sexiness, and health, healing through eating meat. Over to you, George, if you haven't been yet.
Unmute, George. Yep. I do that all the time.
I always do that. I'm known for it. Yeah, so I'm George Goodenough. I am 60 years of age from Bridgewater in Somerset in England. I'm 6 weeks younger than John. So yeah, I'm his junior by 6 weeks. So we're very close. Right, I used to be a type 2 diabetic. I used to be morbidly obese. I noticed we got quite a few people in here who don't necessarily know my story. So I always illustrate it with that picture there. That is me before and after. I discovered that all plants are poisonous and that all sugars and seed oils are toxic as well. So I eliminated all of those, and I've lost. I went from 293 pounds down to 173, and no more type 2 diabetes, and in very good metabolic health. My main role within the carnivore community now is to draw the community together. I have been very active in the United States for the last 4 months. I've basically taken a sabbatical from my day job, and I am now the UK ambassador to Healing Humanity. So I give a weekly report to the Healing Humanity team. And I'm also very closely linked with the Kilt's Mighty Tribe. So I've become well known to Dr. Kilt's himself and also the KMT, many of whom will be on here tonight. And I'm in the process of encouraging international carnivore tourism. We have several people coming over from the States to the Great British Meetup in June of this year. Jonathan, it was on August the 2nd this year that you and I and Steph actually met up, but we're moving it back to June next year. And also I am going back to Wyoming for the meetup in August. So if anybody from the UK community wishes to join me, or indeed anybody from the USA wishes to fly into Riverton in Wyoming, you're more than welcome to do so. And there is rumor of a South American meetup coming up in 2027. So watch this space. It should be interesting. Down in Colombia. So there's a lot of international stuff going on, and I'm very proud to be helping to organize it all. So thank you very much for letting me introduce myself, John.
Nice one. I guess I'll go next. My story is very different to you guys, I think, in a completely different way. I'm not someone that's got this miracle story where I started a carnivore diet. I've dropped 200 pounds. I've not put cancer into remission. I've not, changed my life altogether. But I use this diet as a way of, a way of eating, a way of living, most importantly, a way of just surviving. It's no longer a case of looking to thrive like other people. It's just a case of what can I do in a day to sort of put myself in the best position, just mentally carry on. Honestly, I live with a bit of a trifecta of diseases, disorders, issues, functions that you might not have heard of. One of them that you probably have heard of is autistic spectrum disorder. So my main issues with that are largely sensory, social, low social battery, things like that. Other things are chronic fatigue syndrome. Appreciate it's a syndrome, so it means it's what the hell's wrong with this guy, but we're going to put a label on it anyway, kind of thing. I'm still trying to work that one out. The carnivore diet does seem to elevate my life experience beyond what I would be feeling like with anything else. It's the best of all options I have. And the third one, which is I was diagnosed with back in November, so just over a year ago, actually, in fact. It's called complex regional pain syndrome, and that's type 2. So anyone that's wondering about that specifically, I suggest you Google it. It's also lovingly known as suicide disease, and for good reason. It's not something, as I mentioned earlier, you just live with. It's something you have to survive. It's very different to a lot of other issues. Part of the main issue I have this current time is that I don't look like someone that suffers. When you see the scars, the pain levels, certain hormone markers, blood levels, the way I live, it's drastically different to most people. I've seen people in what you'd consider worse states live much, much, much more functional lives than I do. So for that reason, I have a care assistant that I pay for privately. I can do most things myself, but effectively, imagine living your life where you can't bend down to pick stuff up, you can't twist, you can't turn easily, and every micro movement or inertia that you experience causes a great deal of pain. And a lot of my pain is targeted around the lower back and hip issues. Nonetheless, I stand in a different position to a lot of people because because I live it. Because I know when a client tells me or someone online tells me in a live chat, like they might be here, I've got this back issue, I've got this pain. I know pain very well. I'm a student of pain. I know it better than anyone, I think. So I can actually give my lived experience and hopefully give people better ideas than what might be out there already. And I think, largely speaking, the best benefits we can have in terms of our health and long-term health outcomes, reducing pain, reducing symptoms of autism, etc., are things that are free, or at least things that we should be doing innately anyway. So that means the biohacks that me and the guys probably always talk about. So, morning sunlight, high fat or relative high fat carnivore diet, grounding, appropriate sunlight exposure throughout the day. Also just taking mental account of the people you surround yourself with and the people that you look to as idols. So you've got to make sure you've got the right people in front of you steering the ship, not just listening to anyone aimlessly on the internet. So it's very much put me in a position where I have to, I'm sure just like George, I spend a long time each day researching, reading, trying to find out the best way to get things done. And that comes true in fruition with my training, living in social situations, the way I have to take certain medications, and just the way I eat in general. It's maybe at this point in time I laugh at it in some ways, but one thing I can say is I wouldn't be here right now if it was not for the carnivore diet and the people within the carnivore community online, and they know exactly who they are because a lot of them are in their live chat right now typing away. Like, oh, Jonathan's here. Doesn't usually do a live stream. Blah 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 blah. A lot of these people have spent a lot of their time and effort to actually give me something which I think a lot of men wouldn't word this way, but they actually care. They show support, and that's it's amazing because I don't think you'd find this amongst the vegan group. To be honest, but, yeah, I'm happy and I'm glad to be here, and hope I can share some insights, and hopefully my next answer to any questions I have will be much more concise. I'll leave it to John now to carry on hosting.
Oh, that was that was a lot. I want to clarify because your sound is good, but it was a little spotty. You mentioned autism spectrum, chronic fatigue, complex regional syndrome. Can you elaborate? These are the things that you've dealt with. How long have you had these? When were you diagnosed? And did carnivore fix them immediately? Was it gradual?
Sure, yeah. So the first one kind of, I think most people probably guessed, autism spectrum disorder. It's no longer diagnosed as Asperger's syndrome anywhere. It's just not. So basically everyone with my disorder is called the same thing, but the symptomology changes. So I'm well, it's funny saying this because I don't think so, but I'm an effective communicator, so I can mask my symptoms better than most people that you typically see online, perhaps. And that basically started, I imagine, from birth, and I was only diagnosed when I was in first or second year of university, and that would be something like 9 years ago, something like that. So quite late on. If anyone in the UK, if they're an autistic adult, they'll know late diagnosis is not ideal. The support services are abysmal. There's nothing out there that's new, nothing in the pipeline as of current that I know of which can reduce symptoms outside of what we already have. And like I said, it's mainly the carnivore diets that's going to give the biggest yield. So if we look to the mechanisms around autism, how it affects the brain, we're looking mostly at things which can effectively improve cognition, how well we're wired. So things that are perhaps related to blood glucose levels, taurine, carnitine, amino acids we take in through food. Now, if we're deficient in a lot of these things, and I'd say sunlight is actually a key one, what you're going to find is your symptoms will be dreadful. If I have a few days, it's raining here in England a lot at the moment. If I don't go outside, even when it's raining for a few days, I'm not happy. I'm not a good person to be around. So you end up sort of going a bit, you kind of get that lock-in syndrome kind of thing, and you don't feel good. And I know the Georgians definitely find the same. I like to be outside. I've always been an athlete, so for me, being outside is key. Now, in regards to chronic fatigue, that started as a result of a glandular fever infection back when I was around about 13 or 14 years old. So they tend to go hand in hand. Usually people that live with CFS would have had that kind of issue to deal with at another point in time. So effectively, I've got an impaired immune system because of that. It means I've got to be very careful with certain medications I take, the stress level that I acquire each day, and the diet I follow. They seem to be really key things. The chronic fatigue is very much a case of understanding what's called the spoon analogy. So the idea is, if anyone doesn't know, you have a certain amount of spoons each week or each day, and effectively each spoon represents a certain unit of time or energy or perceived expenditure that you can use during that time. So for me, if I have, say, 10 spoons in a week, it might mean one spoon might be sitting on a bus and going to get some shopping. Another spoon might be going to my care assistant on a Thursday morning, get some thing from the shops or post something or send a letter off. Walking the dog might be one spoon. But then I might think, okay, if I'm then going to go to a family function, then walk around with the dogs, then sit in the park, then drink, then go to the waitress and buy I don't know, a black coffee. You know, all these things stack up, so you end up losing spoons. So you've got to be very careful about how you live your life. So again, that's another thing I have to deal with, which anyone with illness would know. When you're in pain, when you're tired, there's only so much you can do each day. So you have to sort of, in effect, live a very selfish lifestyle. Which is frustrating because although I'm very introverted, I do like to speak to people sometimes, believe it or not. So I'm still a human. Now, in regards to the complex regional pain syndrome, I was diagnosed with that as a result of a failed back surgery, a spine fusion surgery that occurred, I believe it's 2022. I think it was December 12th, 2022. So basically, I had an injury which was not my fault as a result of a tackle when I was about 13 years old, roughly. And this was in a school sports tour. Unfortunately, we had to play against adults, and the tackle was illegal. I don't think I was even holding the ball, and it crunched me up really bad. At that time, I wasn't given any scans, X-rays, proper diagnosis other than we'll take some ibuprofen, see how it goes. Yeah, I took ibuprofen, see where it goes. I'm back again and again and again and again, years and years, just constant, going to the doctors crying, effectively, as a man, and saying, I'm in so much pain, I can't deal with this. And the pains that I was having were like hips and back related. So yeah, the basic resulted in the spine fusion surgery, and that wasn't done as per spec, do we say. So now I'm under the interesting care of failed pain clinic services, failed spinal surgery units, failed GPs, failed physicians, failed physiotherapists. A number of people are accountable for what's happened to me. And it's frustrating, but on the flip side, I have access to a world leading experts of people in our space that can help me. They actually know, for example, Harry Sopanos, he told me about a genetic marker. I can look that up. I can look around that. What things help this kind of person, I can speak to Professor Bart Kay, also an autistic individual. I can look to him for inspiration. What does he do? What does he find useful? What does he avoid in his day? There's people like Dr. Chafee, always ever responsive. If I send a message like, "Oh, hey, how's it going? I wanted to ask about this," I'm not getting a 5-second response. I'm getting a proper email. It's taking this guy time, and he's not full of time. He's got stuff to do. So, yeah, I'm very fortunate to know all these sort of people and people like the others that are on the screen now, and such helpful people that actually care about others, and that's why they're here, sitting here on their Sunday nights, helping you guys out for free. They're not asking anything for it, and I think that's incredible, honestly. So yeah, that's basically it. But I want to outline very quickly the symptoms of CRPS. So complex regional pain syndrome, pain, burning. When I was first under care of the spinal fusion surgery team, and that you get some of these questionnaires. If you've ever had them in the UK, you probably know what I'm on about, and that would be like, what pains do you have today? Rate them out of 10. Burning, searing, scorching, stabbing, frozen, poking. annoying, gnawing, all these weird little adjectives to describe pain. When I first came about this, I didn't know what half of them felt like, but now I know what all of them feel like because I experience them every day. So that's why it's so crucial for me to live a certain lifestyle. And I honestly make Brian Johnson look like an absolute child. If you think of the biohacks I have to do each day and the time investment, it's not easy, and there's no playbook for my condition because so few people have it. It's not like, for example, diabetes. We know elevated blood glucose. Well, how do we stop that? Stop pouring sugar down our necks. There's no sort of like this is the template. There's no flow chart of how you deal with my kind of condition, other than, of course, as we know, I'm sure you guys know, medication this, physio this, take this injection, take this medication, and they're short-lived. The patches, and they don't fix it. But at this point in time, I'm quite unfortunate in that just over 2 years down the line, from when I imagine the issue kicked in, so to speak, I imagine there's not much relief. So you have to undergo something called central desensitization. So the pain I experience is very real. My body feels it. You can see it in my body sometimes, the swelling, but you're not going to know unless you sit around me all day and see point A to point B what it looks like. The discoloration of my skin. I've got one bum cheek that is brown. It looks like Steph. I've got one bum cheek which is like George. It's white. It's just two different colours, and it's bizarre. But there are physical manifestations of my issue, and it's a case of managing things the best you can, applying all the biohacks, and that's largely it. But yeah, I think that answers the question. I don't know.
More than answers the question, and it gave me 10 other questions. So I should let Stephanie and George talk. I don't want to do all the talking. Do you two have a question for him? And I see one in the chat as well.
Well,
Go on, Steph.
Jonathan, I just want to commend you because I think sometimes we can forget when you get up and you can go about your day as normal, you really take it for granted of what your body can do, and you take advantage of that health. And when you said earlier, you can't bend down to pick something up. And just looking at you, obviously, George and I met you at the Great British Meetup in August of this year. And you look a super fit, very physical, almost like a Greek god of, the carnivore world. So I can totally understand when you say people just would not realize that you have this issue or any limitations. So I can see that we have had a question in the QQQs. I'm trying to log into my laptop so that I can see properly, but just on my mobile, I can see that Lainey has asked a question. And so she said, do you have support available to you 24/7, Jonathan?
Hi, Lainey. That's a good and fair question. Yeah, by all means, ask anything you guys want. Like I said, open book. No. So I don't think I need it at this point in time. Because I've maintained my strength, I can still do things. It's just some things more challenging. So I effectively, it comes back to the point of like the spoon analogy. So I can do certain things throughout the day. I can get down on my knees, try and pick something up. It's going to hurt. Then I get back up, and it's still going to hurt. But what most people experience is, oh, it hurts. Or I'll give it a little rub. I'll rest. I'll sit down. Then it gets better. There's not. Once I've hit that dip each day, I've hit that dip. So there's no recuperation. There's no. If I slip down the stairs, which happens a lot, I'm not feeling better 6 hours later. I'm feeling better when my brain's realised that I'm not under severe or critical harm. So that means it's an ongoing pain loop. My baseline pain just sat here right now is probably about an 8. On a good day, I can get it down to a 7 if I've been to the sauna. If I'm using medication, so medical cannabis I'm prescribed. If my bed's comfortable, like my carer Zoe's put it out nicely and it's all padded and whatnot, then yeah, I can. It's a 7 out of 10 pain. It's quite manageable. But, beyond that, yeah, it's it's quite a complex kind of thing, and there's a lot of things I just can't do, which you could probably imagine. If something's on the floor, it's probably going to stay there. It's not going to get up. My mum and stepdad were away for 2 weeks on holiday. It was just me, my dog George, and my nan. I can walk the dog. If my dog then goes, "Hey, I'm going off to chase some cats," I can't do anything about it at all. There's nothing I can do. I just got to rely on him being a good boy and coming back to me. I can't chase down things, which is slightly frustrating. So they're they're the kind of things I think I miss in life. The being just a whim, just I can chase off something, pick something up. Yeah, it's not an ongoing care process, but it's something which I'd say if I didn't have someone helping me for about 5 to 10 hours per week, I wouldn't be able to survive. And the other things I just make more efficient. So my whole room is designed to make my life a bit more ergonomic. So things I put, that needs to be at night if I need to get up in the middle of the night and take a drink. If I need the freezer because I'm boiling hot in the middle of a paint flare, I've got a freezer over there. If I need to make a cold drink, I've got a fridge there with ice. The temperature changes as well, so there's lots of symptoms to my issue. But I've got an aircon in my room, and it's the middle of winter. You see what I mean? So it's I've managed to fill in the gaps where other people would have to otherwise help me with items, perks, things like that. And it goes back to what I said earlier about people helping me out online. I've got friends in the chat like donated me money just so I can afford these things. So I'm grateful for that, and I wouldn't have that otherwise. I'd be living in absolute hell. So, yeah.
And Jonathan, I'd love to know, because it sounds like, I know you've still got ongoing issues, and that there are some things that, from what you've said, Carnivore can't assist with, but has going carnivore, or how has going carnivore helped you?
Okay, so I think it's a lot of the peripheral symptoms that I'd get, or anyone else would get with my conditions. Being I'm not diabetic, my blood sugars run at a very appropriate level. Less mood swings from autism, better cognition, better clarity, better verbal fluency, things like that. Less brain fog, potentially less fatigue as well, because my blood sugar's not going crazy. Then you got the side of less inflammation, so I can still go to the gym and train in a certain way with under the parameters of what I can do safely, only because I'm able to reduce the symptoms that surround it. So, sensory overload from the light. If the gym's too bright for me, the hood goes on, just like that. I can't see as much in my eyes, so it's more manageable. Then rather than that 30 minutes a day I could survive in a gym with the bright lighting, I could do an hour that day. That's an extra half an hour that I'm not thinking about being sat here. So it's these peripheral things that around it which help. Like having a stool in the kitchen. It sounds like a daft thing to have in a kitchen. You're moving around. Well, that's how I prepare my food. I just sit on a stool and just get on with it. I have to make life very simple. So my dietary approach is very simple compared to most people. I eat lots of different animal foods, yes, on a carnivore diet. But for example, tomorrow I've got slow cooked beef brisket, 1.3, 1.4 kilos in the slow cooker. I'm gonna have 4 meals tomorrow because my usual. And put butter in it and this and eggs, or have what else I'm going to pre-cook tonight. But then I'll just do 1 meal, 2 meal, 3 meal, 4 meal, all about the same thing, roughly, give or take, because it's easy. I've not got to stand in the kitchen and do this, cook this, then air fry this, then boil this, then I don't want to stand for too long. So you find ways to manage around it, I guess, and that's probably the best way I could describe it.
George, anything? If not, I have a list of questions I want to ask him.
No, John, I've got a few things I want to pick up on. The
Right,
first message to all of our friends, anybody who knows me and Steph well. You may have noticed the similarity of our backgrounds, but I would point out the fact that her door is open, my door is closed. So please don't come to any wrong conclusions, especially you, Sandy. Right, okay. So first point to pick up on is the outside side of things, is the fresh air. I am an ex-soldier, an ex-all-round athlete, and I used to specialize in ultra marathons. I once held a world record in 1988 with 7 other guys, 8-man stretcher bearing team. We kept it going for 145 miles, I think, without putting it down. We lost it to a Canadian field ambulance team the next year, but I've since tried many times, or not many times, but a few times to get an office job, a proper job, as my mother would have called it, and failed miserably and had to leave because I just basically can't stand offices. I now work in my day job in construction. I open and close the gate in all weathers, be it rain or shine. On Friday, we had a filthy weather day, but I'm perfectly happy doing that. I'd much rather be out soaking wet than what I would be sat in an office in air conditioning. So, yeah, I totally agree with that. I really do. Secondly, about the doctors that we have, I am under the care, and I put that in inverted commas, of the National Health Service at the moment. I have a very bad hernia, inguinal hernia, which is getting worse. I've been referred by my doctor on September the 3rd. I was told basically to get lost because they're far too busy to see the likes of me. I am now on a waiting list, and they told me that it'd be at least 6 months before they would even consider talking to me. So, and I got a text message the other day inviting me to drop my case. I said no, we'll stick with it. Thankfully, I've just discovered a hernia truss. I think, Jonathan, that sort of thing you might know. And it's it's pulled the hernia in. It's nice and tight, and it does give my lower back support as well. So that, I can see Jonathan nodding there. I think you probably sympathise with that. Yeah, so that's the doctors. But let's talk about other doctors. For example, I do not know Dr. Chafee or Professor Bart Kay, but I was like Steph. We were students of Dr. Kilt and Dr. Nelson Vasquez. Very good friends with them. And they give very freely of their time and advice. Every day, for example, on the 6 a.m. from New York, 11 a.m. UK time, they are incredibly good people, and it's just wonderful that we actually know them, and we can always talk to them. It's just amazing. The other thing is, Jonathan mentioned research. Yes, very, very important. John and myself back in January did an interview in which I talked about the 3 pillars of carnivore, which was your why, the research, and the community. Since then, I've added a further one, thanks to Dr. Kiltz and the training which I've had of him, which is mindset. So now my 4 pillars are the why, mindset, research, and community. The research, I've done thousands and thousands and thousands of hours over the last 3.5 years. I'm self-taught. I've got no degree. And those who have degrees absolutely hate to liken me because I've done far more hours than they ever have. But I haven't got any letters after my name. I didn't get a student loan to get my knowledge. My knowledge came from sheer hard work, not from the classroom. There's a brilliant series out there about the dangers of self-taught people, because we rock the boat. And I'm very, very proud to be rocking that boat, to say the very least. Mindset, I realized that I had to change my mindset massively. Everything we had to learn about vegetables and healthy eating, we had to unlearn, and also just how to be determined, how to be the lion versus the sheep, as Dr. Kiltz calls it. And obviously I had a very strong why: type 2 diabetes, morbid obesity. And then ultimately I found that by having community, and I've had community now for just over 2 years, started with one person, but it's now many hundreds around the world. We all support each other. We're all there to advise each other. The 4 of us here are all in personal contact on either Messenger or WhatsApp, so we can talk to each other privately as well as online. We all go on with YouTube together. We all meet up, so we all know each other through personally, if you know what I mean. Admittedly, we don't actually get to sort of shake hands or hug very often, but we all know each other, if you see what I mean. And so, go out, find your community. The KMT is a good start point. Healing Humanity. Build your WhatsApp groups, build your Facebook groups, and especially build your YouTube groups, because if you can get onto YouTube with somebody like a panel show like this, you get to know them. It's almost like being in their front room. I spent Thanksgiving afternoon with Thomas Pruitt in New Jersey. I was sitting in Bridgewater in England, and I spent it at his house through the medium of YouTube and StreamYard. So that was a quick roundup of what I wanted to say, John. So I'll hand it back to you. I hope I haven't taken up too much of your time, but thank you very much for giving me that chance.
Not at all. Jonathan, I have a lot of questions about your disorders now, but I originally came prepared with bodybuilding and muscle questions. Would you like to entertain some of those, or should we stay on the other
I'm happy. I'm honestly happy whichever helps the most amount of people hearing it, whether it helps most
Okay.
people.
The reason I have those is because the thumbnail image that I fixed, and the we're billing you at, you're the Carnivore Muscle, so people want to hear about your bodybuilding experience. So here's my first question in that category, if you will, and indulge us. You've pushed your body to extreme levels as an endurance athlete. What convinced you that a carnivore-based approach could actually enhance performance instead of hinder it?
Okay, so when I first started the carnivore diet in February the 2nd, 2020,
Yeah.
I realized a lot of the issues I had were like digestive. I couldn't tolerate more food. It's like I was like hitting a wall every day. So much food, so much food. We don't use calories as a metric as daft and backward thinking, but for someone that's just listening to this, I was eating about 6,500 calories per day, supposedly, and that was made up of things like Iceland £1 pizzas, so like takeaway frozen pizzas, chicken breasts, the odd bag of mixed vegetables, rice, pasta, and Haribo, and lots of cans of rice pudding. So we're talking about 1,000 grams of carbohydrates per day, and about 300 grams of protein. So you're looking at like a kilo of chicken breast or so a day, and oh god, what's that? Like 12 packets of Uncle Ben's microwave rice per day worth of carbs. There's a lot of food. My digestion was not great. My sleeping was suffering. I actually came across Bart K about 8 years ago, believe it or not. But I never sort of ventured into carnivore until 6 years ago. I thought let's take the plunge. So I did it immediately. Within like the first week, I was sleeping way better. I dropped like inflammation, water weight. My knees weren't as puffy. My hands and my feet weren't as puffy. Digestion was flawless. It's like, oh, I don't feel like I've eaten 10 buffaloes after a meal. I just feel like I've eaten. Now I'm not hungry, and that's about it. So I found a lot of these kind of like peripheral benefits. I thought, well, if that's my bottleneck before, what can I do if I push the limit a bit? So get my protein in, but then eat a bit more fat. Eat a bit more fat. As time goes on, you need more fat to fuel a bigger body. And that's kind of what I found is I was actually gaining muscle at a much better rate, and it was much cleaner. In terms of like the muscle fat versus the fat versus the muscle percentage in terms of like proportion. So I know when I gain a kilo on the scale over a month, it's probably going to be muscle, and that's gonna imagine you could do that over 6 months or 12 months. It's a lot of muscle to gain over a year. So that's kind of the benefit I had. It wasn't so much that I was missing anything in terms of like raw materials, but it's more so my health improved, which allowed me to train harder, train to a better capacity, and ultimately learn more about digestion and my unique abilities as a person and what I can achieve. I didn't have the bottlenecks I previously had, so that was kind of my main benefit in terms of the carnivore diet and building muscle.
Okay. From your experience coaching and guiding others, what are the most common mistakes people make when trying to optimize health or athletic performance on carnivore?
I think most people train too much,
Mm.
with good discipline, with good adherence, but they don't train hard enough. And a lot of people come to me because they're at that point in time where maybe they trained for 5 years. They think, oh, there's not much more I can gain. Then it's, oh, we'll see about that. Let's work together for like 6 months to a year and see what else we can add on. And people do tend to overtrain. They just pick a load of stuff in the gym and think, the more I hammer the same thing, even if I'm not using the right tool, it's going to do something. But no, people don't. They're more likely to come off the diet because they're just burning away so much energy, but they're not using the energy effectively. So they just become wasteful. If you keep making teapots out of chocolate, and it's not the right material, you're going to get a melted chocolate drink, and it's not going to work. But you've got to, work out, okay, well, if I make it properly, make it right the first time. So standardizing your form, standardizing your technique, finding a way to track what you're doing, so you know what you're doing is or is not effective. then you're going to go further along the way. So that brings me to the second point, which would be the tracking. So find a way to track the progress. So first we've got train hard, but not too much. Second one, track. So you can find a way to measure what you're doing. So you've got the right metrics. So, how do your clothes fit? What does the scale say? What's your skin fold levels? Your body fat calipers, things like that, which measure your skin fold thickness. Then you're looking at the mirror, taking photos, trying to work out how do I get the most out of my physique. And the third thing I think is sometimes being a bit neurotic and trying to achieve too much too soon. So a lot of people come to me, I want to do mixed martial arts and build a stone of muscle in 4 weeks. It's not going to happen, sorry. The science doesn't show that can happen. And mechanistically it can't happen, and also that means you're probably going to be burning the candle at both ends trying to achieve two large goals within that time frame. So I think appropriate goal setting is important as well. That means you have a program, you have the intervention to reach whatever goal or objective it is, then you stick it at it and you let it ride out. When you don't get the result immediately, you just check your program again. Is it the right program? Yes. Okay. We'll just carry on. Once you get to a point where it's kind of stale, starts to fragment, it's not as enjoyable, and that's another point where you can say, okay, we need to change something up here. That probably brings me to the fourth point, which is the enjoyability standpoint. You're never going to stick to anything if you don't enjoy it. So some people I have programs for, which I don't agree with the program. It's not optimal, it's not perfect, but they like doing pull-ups this way, this many times a week, makes them feel good, and they can stick to it and they can track it. Fair enough, So it's probably the four keys I'd think about first. And outside of that, trying too hard to fit to a certain number or specific guideline that someone gives. What percentage fat should I have? What ratio of this should I have? Your body doesn't know these numbers, guys. It just knows I have a quotient, a tally, something I need to put in the system, something I need to do each day to get a result. So it's not a case of protein, fat, high, low reps, 8 hours sleep, 6 hours sleep, creatine, no creatine. It's a case of each of these individual things will do something. Now, there's bigger things. Protein's going to be the key. So, make sure your protein's at whatever level it needs to be. Fill appetite, fill training requirements, recovery requirements, vitamins, minerals. There's a whole abundance of things that's important for. Then you have the fat, which is the energy component. That's what largely moves around the most, I find, with most people when it comes to achieving something in regards to body composition. And outside of that, you're looking at small things which might make 1% difference. So that's what I'd kind of look at in terms of what you should be doing, I think long term anyway.
Okay. No, excellent advice. Very excellent advice, because people want fast results, and people also want numbers. I want to reach this. I should eat this amount of protein. I mean, we tend to be fixed. We want to put everything in its box, in its place, so that it's logical. And we're not. We're a biological being, and we have to see how our body responds to all of these things. And I think you kind of explained that really, really well. Here's another question about carbs now, because in bodybuilding, in the athlete world, there's still a huge cultural myth that carbs are essential for endurance. How has your own training, recovery, and metabolic resilience changed since you eliminated all the carbs, or most of the carbs, for your journey?
Yeah, so for transparency, I know people will ask, what are your macros, Jonathan? They vary a lot depending on what my goal is. Like I said, all the things I'm measuring from earlier, that will make sense to me what I'm going to do the next week, the week after that. Macros right now, 400 protein, 30 grams of carbs, and about 210 grams of fat. And that's what my protein's always been that high. I find it really helpful. And when I've tried not doing that, it's not helpful, so I don't do it. The carbs, for anyone wondering, are made up of things like the occasional coffee, 2 or 3 times per week, eggs, which have about half a gram of carbs in each, dairy, which I can tolerate, do enjoy, do absorb well, and it makes me feel good. I like having it in my diet. Other than that, innocuous things like a bit of seasoning here and there. Yeah, beneath 30 grams of carbs a day is pretty much my normal. Now, do we need them? through dietary means, no. We have mechanisms which explain why we don't need it. For example, gluconeogenesis. People can say, "Oh, I don't want to have too much protein. I'll spike gluconeogenesis, the demon." It's like your body has created that system deliberately to help you. It's actually a deliberate system your body put there through evolutionary adaptation to get a job done. We're not always going to be in a situation where we've got an abundance of fat or abundance of this or that. We have different means to acquire different things in our body. And it's not this stressful process. Yes, we need cortisol to be elevated within an appropriate range to release protein from stored or pooled amino acids that we have in our body. But it's going to do that at the rate it needs to do it. So it's not a problem. And it's rate limited as well. And it's both a supply and a demand driven process. It's not one or the other. And we can prove this as well. Stephen Thomas has spoken about it. Professor Black has spoken about it. And they've got great content which explains it in a much more scientific way than I probably can. And yeah, I mean, carbohydrates, no, we don't need them in a diet to build more muscle. The comparative studies we do have suggest that having protein and carbs versus protein and fat post-workout is actually a negative, in that our cortisol is, should I say, more elevated as a result of protein and carbs versus a protein and fat. That is a hard science study, which I could locate somewhere. And that's based on endurance athletes, not so much resistance training athletes, but I think this sort of standard of information still holds true. The other thing as well is about the carbohydrates. I mean, if you look at our body, what our cells are made of, fats, lipid membranes, muscles are made of protein. You look at the carbohydrate in the body, I mean, maybe in our liver, less than 100 grams. Our muscle glycogen, whatever that happens to be, probably, it depends on how big you are. Someone like me, a kilo. Someone more petite like Steph, less than half a kilo probably. So the actual residue or amount of carbohydrates in the body is very slim. And what our body does with protein, fats, and other substrates is it trickles it into muscle glycogen, to liver glycogen, as it needs, within the rate that it needs to do it, and no more, and no less. And if we didn't do that, then that'd be it for all of us. So it's not this required thing. And people are going to say about the IGF-1 excretion as a result of increased insulin levels and glucose within the body. Well, when we look at the actual long-term data where they've compared a low-carb versus fat-based athlete, that minute 5-10% transient rise in IGF-1 is negligible in the long term. So when people talk about fasting is anabolic, it's not anabolic, it's anti-catabolic. That's the thing. People don't make that correct sort of assumption, really. So we need hormones at different levels to do different things, and the body's just going to do what it has to do. I mean, my body's not sat here right now thinking, Jonathan, you have not eaten 100 grams of carbohydrates today, therefore I'm not going to put a gram of muscle on you. No. Well, I wouldn't be able to go to the gym the next day. That would be it. So it doesn't make logical sense, So yeah, that's my roundabout whistle-stop tour on carbohydrates and building muscle.
No, appreciate it very much. I mean, you said 30 carbs a day, 30 grams, and you're getting this from dairy and eggs and coffee. That sounds like 30. You get a lot more, though. You need to eat a lot more to get up to 30, because most people have eggs. And I do shrimp, which has some carbohydrates, and some eggs, and I don't do any dairy, and I don't even think I hit 15 carbs a day. So yeah, but it is interesting that our body knows what it's doing. If we just trust it, everything happens automatically. We tend to want to take control of everything and push the levers. And if we just eat the way we're supposed to, the body is going to make what it needs and store what it needs and use what it needs. It's really interesting. All right, I'm dominating this. Help me, George and Steph. I don't want to hog the conversation.
If I can just pick up on the zero carb thing, you're absolutely right. There is no such thing as a zero carb diet, even the carnivore, because there are carbs in everything. However, there is such thing as a zero ultra processed food diet. John, I know you're an expert on ultra processed foods because you've written the book. And also there is something which can be a zero seed oil diet. well, within reason, because sometimes when we're out and about, we do come across them. But yeah, those are the two most important factors. Ultra processed foods, get rid of them, absolutely. Yeah, get rid of the plants as well, but don't yeah, don't worry too much about the trace carbohydrates. Worry more about the ultra processed foods and the seed oils. Okay, so no worries. So back to you, John.
Excellent. Thank you for adding that, because that I believe is the most important thing. We cut out all seed oils. We've improved our health so much. And the plants, of course, everyone's can tolerate different things. I take them all out personally. Some people can manage with some. So what about you, Jonathan? Do you tell us what you eat in a day?
What I eat in a day? Yeah, so it's a slight element of seasonality to it, but not because of what grows seasonally, but because of what my body wants seasonally. So when it comes to winter months, I typically have more fish. Some months it is more, like chicken drumsticks, more poultry, I guess, in the summer. It's easier to take out if I'm out and about in the house. Whereas when I'm in the house, I like to have my meat cooked warm. Beef, for example, minced beef isn't that nice cold, so I'm not going to eat that much minced beef if it's cold out in the summer. Oily fish is a big one for me, I think. But yeah, I'd say like a day of eating right now, you're looking at a carnivore ice cream I make, which is gelatin powder, whey protein, raw eggs, and what else do I put in there? Butter, something like that. Some warm water to make the gelatin set. And I make this interesting, like giant carnivore ice cream thing. I can make a carnivore jelly as well. It's got sweeteners and things like that in it. They don't seem to be killing me, so I like them. I enjoy them. So I keep having them. So they help me get a lot more food down. So yeah, it's not optimal, but life isn't about being optimal. I mean, if you're living in chronic pain, what are you going to do? Just eat the same food every day and say it's going to make you feel happy? No, of course not. No one lives like that. Yeah, I think there's only one person I do have ever met that does live like that. Yeah, I enjoy my sweeteners and things. So yeah, it's carnivore jelly I make, a carnivore ice cream that I make, and then I'll do usually a big pack of beef mince or beef brisket, about just over a kilo usually. That'll be usually slow cooked just for ease. I'll put in some bone broth powder, or I'll put some actually bones in there sometimes. A bit of salt, pepper, things like that. A load of butter as well, and I quite enjoy that. Then sometimes I fry some eggs, sometimes I won't. But yeah, that's largely it. So I eat a very beef dominant diet. I'd say maybe 70%. It's beef. 30% is going to be any mix match on the day, depending on what I feel like, between salmon, eggs, dairy, whey protein, casein protein, fish, poultry. Yeah, it's not that interesting. My meals don't look clever. They're not fancy. They're just brown stuff on a plate or a bowl with a spoon.
They work for you. It's protein, it's fat, it's vitamins, it's minerals. It's not seed oils, ultra processed food, and enormous amounts of carbs. And that's all that matters. No, my food is not pretty either. You can't take pictures of my food and put them in magazines, and you're probably the same way. You mentioned you made ice cream. How do you sweeten it? Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
John, I was going to say, I've probably got the most boring repetitive diet of all. A raw 8-ounce sirloin steak with 2 duck eggs on top every morning, and that's basically my start of the day. Gets very repetitive, but I never get tired of it.
But it looks better than my food. my food, it tastes amazing. Every time I finish, I walk back to the sink and I'm so satisfied. But if you took a picture of it, it really looks pretty. You don't want to make me a chef in a restaurant. Real quick, Jonathan, how do you sweeten your ice cream and your jelly? What sweet? I use glycine, which is just amazing. And it's not even a sugar. It's just a sweet amino acid. Have you tried that, or what do you use?
So I've got a kilo bag of glycine over there. I actually use that in my nighttime drink, like a bone broth or something. The glycine content in my diet is extremely high already. Stimulates GABA, helps keep me calm. Strong indications linked to reducing pain levels, neurodivergence, reducing symptoms of neurodivergence. So yeah, I do have that supplementally. For me, not nearly sweet enough. I used to eat a lot of sweets back in the day, so I like my things to be sweet. They're going to be sweet. So I use a liquid sweetener. It's in a bottle. I think it's sucralose. I might be wrong. Someone's going to link down below. Oh, didn't you know it's linked to this kind of disease? Well,
Yeah.
I like it. And I live a
Have you
much
tried
more pure life
allulose?
than 99% of people.
Yeah.
And I'm
Have
not
you
afraid to
tried?
say it.
Yeah, allulose, which is, I guess, it's supposedly, it's the isomer, right, whatever it is, of fructose, but it's harmless. Have you tried allulose? It's pretty good for. I don't know if you have
I
access
don't
to
like
it.
it. No,
Oh, you
it's
don't
not. It
like it?
doesn't cut the bill. No, I've tried a
Yeah.
lot of these things: glycine, allulose, saccharin, sodium
Mm.
cyclamate, sucralose, allulose, halitonose,
Monk fruit.
fructose, all
Yeah.
of the oses.
Mm.
I've ended up using sucralose. So
Mm.
yeah.
All right. Anything else, Steph, George, before we go around?
No, I think it's been absolutely fascinating. It's always great to hear from Jonathan, and you're one of our most regular viewers as
You
well,
are.
always in the chat, which is fabulous. And yeah, I just am very inspired by seeing what you've achieved with such hardship in terms of the conditions that you have and what you're going through physically every day. So if you can do it, Jonathan, and get out there and build so much muscle, I think it's inspiration to the rest of us to make sure that we also get out there and stay strong. So thanks for joining us
Thanks, Steph.
today.
I just want to say, people probably listen to me here saying this thing that I'm bitter or something. It's like, well, I'll be more than bitter, I promise you. But the thing is, don't ever let anyone tell you that your pain isn't real, or that you're not suffering, or someone's got it easier or worse than you. Everyone's unique experience is individual, you know. And I don't want people to watch this and feel bad for me. I want to think, oh, this guy's doing it. Well, not got an excuse. But at the same time, if you're sat there in bed and you're in pain, listen to it, nurse it, find a way to sort of get around it. Take a day off the gym. Don't be afraid to sort of take that step back sometimes and just let your body recover. There's nothing wrong with that. And I'd much rather, in most circumstances, actually see people take the day to just enjoy life and find a way to recover and rest and recuperate than trying to dig that hole deeper. So don't be afraid to also to ask for help if you need it. I think there's a lot of giving people out there which are happy to help at times. So.
Yeah, and Sandy said, thank you for sharing your story. So thank you, Sandy, for watching. It's great to have you here, and I want that hug, so let's meet up soon. We need to get international. And Paul said, well said. He just said that when you were saying about everyone's different, so just acknowledge yourself and what you have going on. I'll hand back to you, John, because we're running out of time.
We have 3 minutes. All right, let's wrap it up. Well, what we do, we go around the circle. Just like we did an opening, we'll do a closing. And when we get to you, Jonathan, last, tell us where we can find you and connect with you and your work and just learn more about you, because we've got a lot of viewers on here or people who are going to watch it on the replay who want to learn more because maybe something you said really rang with them. So make sure that you share that with us. I'll make it simple. I'm just a carnivore teacher. I'm on YouTube. I'm on all the other social media sites teaching the carnivore way of eating, which I believe is the proper human diet. It's our species appropriate diet. And it really does help and solve a lot of people's issues. And we're all different. You just heard Jonathan's issues. And I bow to you, Jonathan. My gosh, more power to you. I'm encouraged, and I thank you for sharing your story because it helps me. If ever when I have an issue, it's like I can do it because Jonathan did it. I can do it. Absolutely. On to you, Steph.
Yeah, hi everyone. It's been great to see you all. You can see that I came in late. So first I joined on my phone and I couldn't get in the comments as much, but it's been great to talk to you in the comments. And as I said earlier, George and I are in Kent for the Kent mini meetup tomorrow, where we're meeting up with a load of carnivores. So do follow us on Instagram and YouTube and Facebook. We'll be posting pictures of the meetup. And I'm at Happy Sexy Health with my sister Nikki on YouTube and on all the platforms. So if you haven't subscribed yet, do that, and it'd be great to connect. And if I see any new subscribers, of course, I will also subscribe to your channels because I want to be connected to as many meaty people as possible. So that's all from me. Over to you, George.
Okay, so yeah, I am good enough for you on YouTube. I don't use it enough. I'm not very good on it, and you'll find me all over YouTube on other people's channels, especially doing the lives. I prefer doing the lives to the recorded interviews. So wherever there's a live, I'm usually trying to get on it. You'll also find me in chat. You'll find me on Facebook under George Goodenough. Please do come and make friends with me, but make sure you mention you're a carnivore. That's quite important. That's the ticket to get onto my Facebook. And also you'll find me as a moderator on the Kilts channel. I'm on the 6 a.m. live most mornings. So if you want to talk to me, you can talk to me through that particular chat. Talking of which, one of the reasons that I was a bit distracted tonight, for which I apologize, is that the good doctor himself doesn't realize that I'm busy and is WhatsApping me because I'm meeting him at the airport tomorrow, because he is kindly just on his way to the airport now, getting on a flight to come over here and speak on our behalf at the Kent mini meetup tomorrow. So thank you, Dr. Kilts, even though you're not watching. And yeah, I will be, we will be, Steph and myself will be reporting. I've got no doubt that Dr. Kilts will do so as well. So I look forward to it. Over to you, Jonathan.
It's so exciting, isn't it, George?
It is.
Dr. Kilts is coming all the way from America just for this one event.
Wow. He does have his own plane, guys. He does fly, and
he's flying Delta into Heathrow.
Is he? Okay.
He's wheels down at 8 a.m. tomorrow. He's wheels up at 8 p.m. tomorrow.
Wow, he's such a great guy.
I've got a busy day. And basically, yeah, just to quote, he says, "On my way. I'm really excited. I'm on my way to the airport right now. I'll see you tomorrow morning." So yeah, he is on his way, and that's confirmed. So there we go. Nice. Over to you, Jonathan.
Cheers, George. I just want to encourage everyone from my audience who might be following my stream right now to go to these guys, follow them. The channel names are up here. There, somewhere. Okay.
Thank you.
Anyway, besides that, you can follow me if you want. I don't really care to us. I just do this because I love doing it. I'm not here to pick up subscribers at all. But if you want to subscribe, feel free. You get some information about autism, carnivore, bodybuilding, fat loss. I'd say I probably have the most comprehensive library of information regarding bodybuilding online on a carnivore way of eating. But do check the playlists out. There's a lot on there. I also made the first carnivore documentary online. Also made the first animation online. Also, I've done a few other things which are you'll see if you're a channel member on my thing. So you can look through your own time. But yeah, other than that, you can find me on my website at carnivoremuscle.com or carnivore-muscle.com. My Instagram is the same. My Facebook is strictly speaking for people that I know personally. So people like Steph, George, people actually know, people that I've seen, been in front of, shaking their hands, sort of thing. But other than that, you're welcome to follow me on there. I don't post much on there. It's very much a rookie site. But yeah, my day-to-day stuff is Instagram and YouTube, and feel free to check out what I've got there. So cheers. And thanks very much for hosting this as well, guys. I appreciate fully the amount of effort and stress it might have been to get here on this stream, especially with travel and things and hotels and stuff. So that's why I wasn't expecting you guys to even be here tonight. So I'm actually really grateful that you were. It's good to see you.
That's great.
No,
Thank
we
you,
missed
Jonathan.
it. We were really looking forward to having you on and to this conversation tonight. And yeah, it's been great. So
yeah,
I'll let you wrap it up.
when you think about it, folks, we have done Carnivore Sunday School from quite a few weird places around the world, haven't we?
Yes.
But we always find a way to make it happen.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, we do. Yes, we do. All right. Thank you, Jonathan. Everybody, thank you. Tune in again next week. Who's our guest next week, Steph? You have that off the top of your head? Because
I do. Well, not quite off the top of my head.
I do. It's Erin Booby Goats down in Tennessee.
Great. Okay, good. All right. So come on next Sunday, people, and see Booby Goats.
and then the week after, we've got Carnivore's grandma.
Oh, good.
And then the week after that, the 28th of December, we've got Dr. Kilts. We are
Dr.
going
I can safely talk about Dr. Kilts. He's not watching, but he was a no-show last time, and he's been very apologetic since then. And he absolutely insisted that he came on for the Christmas edition.
Yeah.
So it wasn't a question of me going out and getting him. It was a question of him coming to me and saying, "You are having me on for the Christmas." Yeah, for the
He had a
Christmas.
little guilt going there.
Yeah.
All right, thanks,
Maybe
Steph.
Jordan had Bessie mates with him. That's why, George.
All right, Steph, push the button. See you later, guys. Thank you, Jonathan.